She calls me daughter now. They said she'd hate me, said I'd cry, said I'd pack my bags and say goodbye. But love don't follow rules or fear. And now she hugs me, calls me dear. I came into her world so new, wearing my white gown and dancing shoes. They whispered, she won't like your smile. But I just loved her all the while. I helped her cook, I swept the floor. I laughed with her, and so much more. I saw the woman, not the throne. And slowly, she made me her own. Now she calls me daughter, not just wife. We share the stories of her life. We cry, we sing, we cook, we pray. And thank the stars that I stayed. No more war, no more fight. She's my mama now, and I'm her light. Oh, they were wrong, can't you see? She fell in love with me. Her eyes were tough, her voice was strong. But underneath, she'd waited long. For someone kind, not proud or loud. Someone to make her son feel proud. I didn't rush, I didn't shout. I loved her gently, inside out. I saw the girl she used to be, and let her be herself with me. Now she calls me daughter, not just wife. We share the stories of her life. We cry, we sing, we cook, we pray. And thank the stars that I stayed. No more war, no more fight. She's my mama now, and I'm her light. Oh, they were wrong, can't you see? She fell in love with me. No more lines drawn in the sand. Now we walk through life hand in hand. I didn't win with words or war. I knocked with love, and she opened her door. Final chorus. Now she calls me daughter, not just wife. We share the stories of her life. We cry, we sing, we cook, we pray. And thank the stars that I stayed. She holds my child, she holds my heart. We're not just family, we're a work of art. Oh, they were wrong, can't you see? She fell in love with me. They said it couldn't happen. But love made a way. Now mother-in-law. Feels like memoir every day. They warned me before I walked into that house. Your mother-in-law is fire and thunder. Respect her, but don't expect her to love you. Even my husband whispered as we stepped out of the car. Just don't talk too much. She doesn't like outsiders. But how could I be an outsider? I married her only son. I stepped in with my heart pounding like a village drum during festival. Her eyes met mine. Cold. Calculating. Centuries of tradition behind her stare. To her, I was just a threat wrapped in a... The sun was barely rising when Ima arrived at Ekanum's mother's house. The rooster crowed as if to announce a new beginning, but nothing in Mama Ekanum's face hinted at warmth or welcome. Mama was sitting in the compound, peeling bitter cola with her sharp knife. When she saw Ima approaching, a deep frown settled on her brow. So, you're here? She asked, standing slowly. Her eyes scanned Ima from head to toe. Yes, Mama, Ima replied with a respectful bow. Drop your bag over there, she said coldly, pointing at a corner of the small veranda. And follow me to the stream. We fetch our own water here. We don't use these painted nails to fetch husbands and sit waiting for pipe-borne water. Without waiting for a response, she tied her wrapper tightly and began walking. Ima silently followed, carrying a silver basin on her head. At the stream, the other village girls whispered and stared, but Ima did not mind. She greeted everyone politely and fetched her water with as much grace as she could summon. When they returned home, Mama said, Go to the kitchen. You will help me cook. If you say you want to marry into this family, then show me what you're made of. Yes, Mama, Ima answered cheerfully. Despite the chilly welcome, Ima was determined to win this woman's heart. The kitchen was smoky and hot, filled with the aroma of native spices. Mema Ekanum began preparing afia efir, a white soup known only to skilled cooks in their tribe. This is not Now that's a piece from the first episode of this beautiful story. To enjoy the full story, you can watch our first episode over here, but now we continue into the second episode. And so, their love blossomed, not in luxury, but in loyalty. Not in public display, but in private sacrifice. Not through grand speeches, but in the soft, silent things. Like cooking soup for his mother. Like dancing barefoot in the sand under a full moon. Like seeing each other not as perfect, but as chosen. If this story touched your heart, if you saw a piece of yourself in Ima's strength, if you long for a love like Ekanum's, faithful, intentional, and true, then this is the family you've been waiting for. This channel was made for hearts like yours. Subscribe to join a growing tribe that believes in real love, powerful stories, and unforgettable emotions. Like this video if it moved you to tears or made you smile. Comment below. What part of Ekanum and Ima's journey melted your heart the most? Would you ever undergo 2 months of training to win your future mother-in-law's heart? Share this story with someone who believes love still lives in the little things. Because on this channel, we don't just tell stories. We resurrect emotion. The sun had not yet climbed to the middle of the sky when Mama Ikanem clapped her hands outside the house. Ima, tie your wrapper well and bring that market basket, she called. Ima emerged quickly, her head tied in a neat scarf, the woven basket balanced carefully in her hands. We are going to the central market today, Mama said, adjusting her own scarf with seasoned elegance. Not just to buy, but to learn. The walk to the market was lively. Birds chirped, traders passed them with wheelbarrows full of peppers and yams, and the smell of fried akara greeted their noses long before the stalls came into view. As they entered the bustling heart of the central market, Mema Ikanem slowed her pace. This place, she said, pointing around her, is not just for spending money. It's a battlefield. If you don't know how to fight wisely, you'll go home broke and empty. Ima nodded, wide-eyed, taking it all in. First rule, Mama began. Never buy from the first person who calls you. They will always charge you higher because you look fresh. She dragged Ima to a tomato seller who flashed a wide, toothy smile. Mama, fine tomatoes. Fresh from the farm this morning. Mama Ikanem said, picking one and sniffing it. This one is from last week. You want to fool me with lies. Ah, Mama, the seller laughed. You know too much. I've been coming here before your mother wore wrapper, Mama replied, chuckling. She bought from the third seller, saving 40 naira. Then she walked Ima to the pepper section, showing her how to test for spoilage by gently pressing the sides. The soft ones look fat but will rot tomorrow, she explained. They went from stall to stall, onions, vegetables, dry fish, and with each one, Mama haggled like a seasoned general. When they got to the fruit sellers, Mama paused. Now, this one is sacred. She selected ripe bananas, a small watermelon, and 4 golden mangoes. Mama, Ima asked, aren't we almost out of money? Mama smiled and placed the mangoes carefully into the basket. Let me teach you something, she said, lowering her voice like a priest delivering a holy secret. No matter how broke you are, always buy fruit. Especially for your husband and children. Why, Mama? Because fruit is not just food. It's thoughtfulness. It's sweetness. It says, I remembered you. You can cook 3 pots of soup, and they'll thank you. But let your husband open his food bag at work and find a mango you wrapped for him, and he'll think about you all day. Ima blinked, her heart swelling. Fruit is not about money, Mama added. It's about memory. The small things we do that leave a big taste in the hearts of those we love. They continued, Mama teaching her how to use leftover soup ingredients to make another meal, how to spot when Gary had been mixed with sand, and how to carry herself with dignity no matter what corner of the market she found herself in. As they started heading home, baskets full and spirits light, Ima turned to Mama and said, Thank you for today. I never thought the market could be a place of wisdom. Mema Ikanem smiled and adjusted her basket on her head. My dear, you are not just here to learn to cook. You are learning how to carry a home. A wise woman feeds not just stomachs, but hearts. And as the women walked side by side under the mellowing sun, Ima knew she was not just becoming a wife. She was becoming a woman. It was a quiet evening. The kind where the sky slowly slips into orange robes, and the smell of roasted maize drifts from neighbors' fires. Inside the small but homely kitchen, Ima and Mama Ikanem sat side by side, their fingers busy peeling aguzi seeds while the pot of soup simmered quietly in the background. Suddenly, Mama turned and looked deeply into Ima's eyes. My daughter, she said, her voice low but rich like palm wine in a clay cup. You're learning well. But today, I must teach you something different. Something no school will give you. Ima straightened up. Her heart skipped slightly. Mama leaned closer. You see, it's not enough to marry a man and think that love alone will keep you safe. The same way sugar brings ants, a good man, especially a handsome, hardworking, respectful one, will attract women. Like flies to honey. You must be smart. And fast. And invisible in your strategy. Ima swallowed. Mama, what should I do? Mama looked at her lovingly and whispered. I will tell you 4 ways to keep other women far from your husband. But you must never tell him. Not even if he swears on the Bible. If you do, the magic will scatter. I promise, Mama, Ima said, eyes wide, heart thumping. Mama began, her voice like a village drumbeat, steady and unforgettable. First, she said, never allow him eat from another woman's pot. I don't care if she's his boss, cousin, or even church sister. Let your cooking be so good that nothing he tastes outside compares. But Mama, what if I'm not always around? Then you must plan ahead. Cook, freeze, store. Learn new dishes. Even if you're tired, find a way. A man's tongue is the front door to his loyalty. Once his belly is attached to your hand, his body will struggle to stray. Ima nodded slowly, the truth of it sinking in like hot oil on cold skin. 2. Never stop dressing like you're still dating. Second, Mama said, pointing her finger gently, do not become a house rat after marriage. Don't walk around with head net all day, wrapper under armpit, and feet dusty like a lorry path. Ima giggled, but Mama's eyes were serious. Even if you're at home, wear something neat. Spray perfume. Comb your hair. And anytime you're going to see him outside, at work or when he visits, look like a queen. Don't wait till another woman shows him how beautiful outside can be. Yes, Mama. Men like what they see. Be the picture he wants to stare at every day. 3. Make him your son and husband. Mama took a breath and leaned back, her eyes softening. This one is deep. Listen well. Ima leaned in. You must learn to mother him. Not in a way that weakens him, but in a way that comforts him. Give him small pet names. Pack his clothes. Polish his shoes. Ask him how he slept. Rub his back when he's tired. Let him know that no other woman can give him the peace he gets with you. Mama's voice dropped. Men chase excitement, yes. But what they long for, what they never forget, is peace. If your home is a place of rest, no strange woman can compete. Ima's throat tightened. I understand, Mama. 4. Lock his spirit with your knees. Mama paused for a moment before she said, the fourth way is the strongest. But it's also the quietest. Ima's eyes widened. Pray for him. Every day. Before he wakes, before he sleeps. Kneel down. Mention his name. Speak blessings over his business, his health, his mind. Women will try. But their arrows will return to sender if you are the woman on your knees. She stood briefly and fetched a small calabash. Inside were cowries and prayer beads. Every strong marriage is fought for spiritually. Don't wait till something breaks before you start fixing it. Cover your husband like a cloak, and he will never stray too far. Ima bowed her head slightly, a strange warmth stirring in her chest. Never tell him the secret. And now, Mama said, her tone lowering like a night breeze, this is where many young wives fail. She stood and walked toward the doorway, looking out at the falling sun. Don't go and tell Ekanem that Mama said I should always wear perfume or Mama said I should polish your shoes. The moment he knows, the spell will break. Let him believe it's just who you are. Natural. Flowing. Mysterious. She turned back and smiled. Men like women who seem born to love them. Not trained. Ima stood and ran into her arms. Thank you, Mama. Mama held her for a while, then whispered, you are not just marrying a man. You're protecting a legacy. His name, his peace, his loyalty, all in your hand like water. Hold it well, my daughter. That night, after dinner and another round of Mama's hilarious storytelling, Ima lay on her mat staring at the ceiling. Her heart was full. Her mind was ready. She had come to prove herself. But now, she was becoming something even she didn't know she could be. A woman of silent power. A wife of invisible strength. And as sleep slowly crept into her bones, she whispered the first prayer over Ekanem's name, sealing her first promise of protection. The night was still. The moon, round and bright, sat in the sky like a quiet witness to secrets long buried. Ima had just finished washing the dinner plates and was drying her hands when Ekanem's mother called out. My daughter, she said softly. Come sit beside me. Ima obeyed. The old wooden chair beside Mama creaked as she sat, and for a moment, only the soft chirping of crickets filled the air. You laugh with me every night, Mama began, her voice lower than usual. But tonight, I want you to cry with me, just once. Ima blinked, caught off guard. Mama's eyes were far away, swimming in the past. Before Ekanem was born, I was married to a man who called me queen every morning. He was tall like a palm tree, strong like an iroko. He loved me like a man possessed, Mama said, smiling faintly. But he died, too early. Ima leaned closer, heart tightening. It was our 6th year of marriage, Mama continued. Ekanem was only 4. My husband had just gotten a new job with the railways in Enugu. He said, this job will change our lives, Eket. You'll see. And truly, things started to get better. He sent money home every 2 weeks, called me every Sunday. One evening, Mama paused, her voice now trembling. I cooked his favorite meal, pounded yam and afang soup, and waited. I tied my best wrapper. I sang while I waited. But what came was a neighbor, holding a telegram. My husband had been found dead in his railway office. He had collapsed after hours of overtime, hunger, and stress. No one was there to help. No wife to stop him. No hand to pull him away. A tear slid down Mama's cheek. I ran mad for 3 days, she whispered. And when I woke up, I realized I had a son to raise alone. Ima was sobbing silently now. Mama continued. You see, my dear, I pampered him. I protected him. Every coin I earned, every cloth I didn't wear, every market I entered for Ikanem. I knew if I died too, no one would care for him like I would. I worked day and night. I carried loads. I hawked pepper. I was mocked. But I smiled, because he was becoming something. Mama turned fully to Ima now. That's why I am the way I am. That's why no woman marries my son without training. Because my husband died from love without protection. And I swore on his grave, that if I can help it, no woman will ever destroy what I built with my tears. Ima wept into her palms, her heart breaking open like a gourd. Mama reached for Ima's hand and held it gently. You see, my child, she said, her voice now steady again. Love is not just butterflies in your belly. It is knowing when to stop your husband from killing himself for you. It is seeing when he's pretending to be strong while he's crumbling inside. She drew a deep breath. I knew nothing about that when I was young. I just cooked, cleaned, and wore good clothes for him. But I didn't watch over his mental health. I didn't check his schedule. I didn't see he was slowly burning. If I had known then what I know now, maybe, just maybe, he'd still be here. The silence between them deepened. Ima's sobs had quieted now, but her eyes were swollen with tears. Mama leaned back. I have trained 5 girls before you, she said. 3 of them ran away after a few days. 1 stayed for 2 weeks and begged me never to talk to her again. Only 1, from the city, passed, but she later divorced the boy. Said marriage was too much for her. She looked at Ima and gave a dry chuckle. But you are different. You didn't wait for approval. You came. You said, let me be trained. That's why I'm telling you this story. Because you're worth teaching. Ima smiled faintly through her tears. Do you know why I always laugh when I tell those after-dinner stories? Mama asked. Ima shook her head. Because laughter was the only thing that kept me from jumping into the river with Ikanem tied on my back, Mama replied, her eyes twinkling now. And I want to pass that laughter to you. I want to pass my wisdom, my mistakes, and my strength to you. If you'll let me. Ima nodded slowly. Mama, I'll sit at your feet till you say enough. I will learn. I will not waste what your tears built. Mama stood up, walked inside, and returned holding a folded wrapper. This belonged to my mother-in-law, she said, placing it gently in Ima's lap. She gave it to me on the day I passed her tests and she called me daughter. I give it to you tonight, not because you've passed, but because you're ready to try. That's enough for me. Ima held the wrapper like it was made of gold, her heart full to the brim. And that night, as the stars blinked above and the earth whispered peace, 2 women, one forged by pain, the other shaped by love, sat side by side, building something beautiful that the world could never understand. Something only a mother and a daughter-in-law who became soulmates could ever explain. Ikanem arrived that Saturday morning with a heart full of hope and arms full of gifts. As he walked through the narrow path that led to his mother's house, he could already hear soft giggles and the gentle banter between 2 women, his mother and his fiancée. That sound was music to his ears. Mama, he called. Ah, my son. Come and see your woman. Oh, she has become part of me. Mama answered proudly, smiling as she waved him over. Ikanem entered the courtyard and was stunned. Ima was radiant. Her skin glowed, her eyes sparkled, and there was a calm grace in her every movement. She came to him and knelt briefly before standing to hug him. His mother looked on with a satisfied grin. I came to take her with me for the weekend, Mama, just to greet her parents. It's been a week. They miss her, Ikanem said softly. No, Mama said without blinking. Let her stay till the training is complete. Mama, please. Just for the night. I will bring her back before the sunset on Sunday. Mama shook her head again. If she doesn't come back, I will blame you. Don't start what you can't finish, Ikanem. He laughed and pleaded like a little child, holding both their hands until finally, Mama relented. But she must return. No excuse, she said firmly. Yes, Mama. No excuse, Ima assured her. Before leaving, Ikanem handed them each a carefully wrapped parcel. Beautiful dresses. His mother opened hers and her eyes softened. Ah, this is for me. Yes, Mama. I bought it thinking of you. She said nothing but walked inside quietly. A few seconds later, she came back out dressed in the gown, twisting like a young bride. Ikanem, this is how to win a woman's heart, she said. Ima's gown was rich ankara with golden embroidery that lit up her beauty. Ikanem stared in admiration. Queen Ima, he whispered. By the time they arrived at Ima's family house, her parents came rushing out. Their jaws dropped when they saw her. Dressed like royalty, with a composure that was unfamiliar but admirable, she looked nothing like the Ima they waved goodbye to. Ikanem, her father said, shaking his head. You are not just a man, you are a miracle. They hugged and laughed, and the compound came alive with joy. That evening, Ima entered the kitchen and took charge like she had never done before. Her siblings stared in disbelief as she commanded ingredients, stirred the pot like a professional, and sang softly like a woman at peace. When the soup was served, silence fell. Everyone sipped, tasted, and looked up at one another. Mamau, come and taste what your daughter made, one of her brothers said. Her mother ate slowly, then looked up with tears. In 1 week, she returned a woman. Ikanem, stunned himself, could only nod. That night, as the stars settled in the sky, Ima sat with her family on the veranda and began to tell them the stories she'd heard. I want to tell you 3 stories, Ima said, seated on a mat, her siblings and parents circling around her like children around a fire. The first, she began, is the story of Udoka the patient wife. She told them how Udoka married a struggling palm wine tapper who promised to build her a house. But years passed and nothing happened. People mocked her. Friends advised her to leave. But she stayed, prayed, and worked with him, carrying the wine on her head to the market. One day, a tourist drank his wine, loved it, and offered him a contract to supply it overseas. Within 2 years, they became millionaires. Ima smiled. Mama said the wine didn't make them rich. Patience did. Everyone nodded thoughtfully. The second story, she continued, is about Olotu the overbeautiful bride. She was so fine that every man wanted her. Her husband, though proud, was insecure and very jealous. He started locking her indoors, suspecting every man. She was miserable. One day, she wore old clothes and rubbed charcoal on her face. She went to his shop and sold things like a mad woman. Her husband arrived and was furious. She told him, if this is what I must do for peace, then I will become ugly just to remain your queen in your heart, not in men's eyes. Her father whistled. Ah, love can make a woman do strange things. They laughed. And the third story, Ima said, her eyes misty now, was the woman who couldn't cry. She lost her child and her husband in 1 day but didn't cry. She worked, she cooked, she greeted people. One day, her neighbor asked her, aren't you going to cry? And she replied, if I cry, my strength will weaken. If I faint, my roof will collapse. I must hold it together, for my motherless niece. By the end of the story, tears were trickling down Ima's cheeks. Mama said, that was her story, she added. Everyone was quiet. Even her father wiped his eyes. Then her youngest sister broke the silence with a chuckle. Ima, please, take me back with you tomorrow, she said. Not because I want a husband, just because of that soup and these stories. Laughter erupted across the compound. Ima is now a storyteller, her brother shouted. No, her mother corrected gently. She's now a woman. Later that night, as everyone lay to sleep, Ima curled beside her mother, whispering, thank you for letting me go. Her mother hugged her and whispered back, thank you for coming back, different. And in the heart of that small town, under the stars, a transformation was complete. The sun was already leaning westward when Ima arrived at Ikanem's mother's house. She walked briskly, her heart filled with excitement to share everything that happened at her family's house. But the moment she stepped into the compound, something was off. The place was unusually quiet. The usually tidy veranda was littered with a few fallen leaves, and no aroma of soup welcomed her. Mao! Mama! She called, dropping her bag. There was no response. She walked toward the room and slowly opened the wooden door. There, lying on the bed, was Ikanem's mother, visibly weak, wrapped in a wrapper that clung to her damp skin. Her lips were pale, her breathing was shallow, and sweat drenched her forehead. Ima rushed to her side and gently touched her skin. Burning hot. She was burning with fever. She ran out of the house calling for help. A neighbor, Mama Euforo, answered, and together they helped lift Mama Ikanem into a wrapper and rushed her to the nearest health center. The nurse took one look at the elder woman and shook her head. She's severely dehydrated. Likely malaria. But we need to admit her immediately. Please do whatever you can to help her, Ima pleaded. Yes, but we need an initial deposit of 25,000 naira. Ima froze. Her own allowance from Ikanem had just been used to buy foodstuff for the week. Her personal savings, just over 35,000, was all she had. Slowly, she opened her bag, brought out her ATM card, and followed the nurse to the payment desk. By evening, Mama was on a drip, receiving treatment. Her fever had dropped slightly, but she was still weak. Ima sat beside her, fanning her gently and wiping her forehead. All night, she stayed awake, watching over her like a daughter would. By morning, Ikanem arrived. He had rushed back after the neighbor called him, his heart pounding with anxiety. But when he entered the hospital room, what he saw melted him. Ima was curled beside his mother, holding her hand, whispering soft prayers. Ima, he whispered. She turned and stood up, eyes tired but calm. She's stable now, she said with a smile. The doctor said she will be fine. He reached forward and hugged her tightly. Thank you. Thank you. When he learned that she had paid the bill from her savings, his heart broke and healed at once. You didn't even call me, he said. I didn't want to waste time, she answered simply. They didn't speak much after that. There was no need to. Later that evening, when the nurse confirmed Mama could receive limited visits, Ikanem took Ima's hand and led her to the hospital garden. The evening breeze was soft and kind. Flowers swayed gently under the golden sunset, and birds chirped above the trees. They sat on a bench near a small water fountain, neither speaking at first. Then Ikanem turned to her. You've proven to me today that love is not just about words, or cooking, or being a good woman at home. You showed me sacrifice. She smiled shyly. I remembered my promise, he continued, reaching into his wallet and pulling out a white envelope. For your upkeep, yes. But this is for your heart. You spent all you had on my mother without asking questions. That means more to me than anything else. Ima took the envelope slowly. I didn't do it for money. I know. That's why it means so much. They sat in silence again. Ima, he said softly. When I first told my mother I wanted to marry you, she asked me what I saw in you. She looked at him, surprised. What did you say? I said I saw peace. The kind of peace a man needs to rest his head after a long day. Today, you gave me that peace again, by saving the life of the woman who gave me life. Her eyes welled up. I love you, Ima, he said, taking her hand. Not just because you're beautiful, but because you love without condition. You serve without complaining. You listen. You learn. You forgive quickly. And most of all, you've given my mother the honor she deserves. Ima's lips trembled. I love you too, Ikanem. I never knew what love truly meant until I met your family. Your mother may be strict, but her heart is pure gold. And you, she paused, holding his gaze. You are a man every woman prays to have. He laughed. I'm not perfect. Neither am I. But I believe together, we'll build something close. They sat quietly as the fountain gurgled gently. He wrapped his arm around her. Mama will be fine. And I'm never leaving you out of my plans again. From now on, we plan our lives together. She nodded and rested her head on his shoulder. I can't wait to be your wife, she whispered. And I can't wait to make you one. Under the fading sun, surrounded by the scent of flowers and the hum of nature, two hearts bonded forever, not by passion, not by pressure, but by the kind of love that comes through sacrifice, service, and selflessness. And it all began in a hospital garden, with a fever, a fountain, and a forever. The sun had barely risen when Ima's new phone buzzed with a message from Ikanem. My dearest Ima, waking up today, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude. Your presence in my life has brought peace and joy I never knew I needed. Thank you for being you. Ima smiled, her heart swelling with affection. She replied, Louv Dove. Ikanem, your words warm my heart. Being with you feels like home, a place where I can be my true self. Thank you for loving me. Their exchange set the tone for the day, a testament to their growing intimacy and mutual appreciation. Later that week, as Ikanem traveled for work, he sent another message. Ima, being away from you makes me realize how much you mean to me. Your laughter, your kindness, your strength. I miss it all. Counting the days until I'm back in your arms. Ima, touched by his words, responded. Ekanem, your absence is felt deeply. I miss our conversations, your comforting presence, and the way you make everything better. Come back soon, my love. Their messages bridged the distance, reinforcing their emotional connection and the depth of their feelings. Upon Ekanem's return, he sent a message that evening. Ima, every moment with you reaffirms my desire to spend the rest of my life by your side. Let's build a future filled with love, laughter, and endless memories. Ima, tears of joy in her eyes, replied. Ekanem, nothing would make me happier than to journey through life with you. Together, we can face anything and create a beautiful story of our own. Their commitment to each other solidified, their love story blossomed, inspiring those around them with its sincerity and depth. Mama recovered on time, and the doctors said it was largely due to the quick response and care she received. But everyone knew the real miracle wasn't just the medicine, it was Ima. Her presence, her dedication, her quiet strength. Back at the house, even in convalescence, Mama didn't stop. Her spirit remained unshaken. Each morning, wrapped in her wrapper, she would call Ima to sit by her side, correcting her softly on the little things, how to slice okra diagonally to retain its crunch, how to fold clothes so they didn't wrinkle, even how to read facial expressions at family meetings. Ima, when your husband frowns and doesn't talk, it's not anger, it's worry. Touch his hand and say, I see you. It will melt him. Ima would nod and write it down in a small book she now called the Book of Mama. Their laughter often echoed from the back veranda. Neighbors whispered, who would believe this is the same woman who came here under condition? Evening hours became their sacred time. As the orange sun cast its golden fingers over the compound, Mama and Ima would talk, hushed and deep, like two old friends weaving wisdom into their future. One evening, as they sipped zobo and watched lizards chase each other across the wall, Ekanem walked in from work. He paused, then smiled. You two again, he said. What conspiracy is going on now? Ima turned, flashing a cheeky grin. That's none of your business. Ekanem feigned a gasp. En? You people are ganging up against me. Mama chuckled. Better start behaving yourself, my son. You now have two mothers. That night, over a simple dinner of vegetable soup and pounded yam, Ekanem watched the two women in his life, laughing, teasing, learning, and loving, and he felt something shift in his soul. He had always known love. But this was family. 3 weeks. That was all it took to transform strangers into something deeper than family, soul-bound, heart-knotted, and laughter-linked. Mama had healed, but something in her had also softened. Her voice was gentler, her hands warmer, and when she spoke of Ima to neighbors, she called her my daughter. One afternoon, as the rain fell steadily and the scent of earth filled the air, Mama and Ima sat beneath the mango tree peeling snails. Ima, Mama said suddenly, I feared you. Ima looked up, surprised. Why? Because I didn't raise you, and I didn't know what your mother put in you. I feared you'd take my son from me. But now I see, you came to give me another son. Tears welled up in Ima's eyes, but she said nothing. She only reached out and held Mama's weathered hand. From that day, they became inseparable. They now had nicknames for each other. Ima called her Mamarem, short for Mama of Miracles, and Mama called her Iman, meaning faith. When Ekanem asked why, Mama said, because this girl is the answer to a mother's prayer. Sometimes Ekanem would find them whispering and laughing. When he asked what they were plotting, Ima would wink and say, trade secret. Ah! Ekanem would shout, you people better not gang up against me, oh. And they'd both burst out laughing. He brought them gifts, matching wrappers, new kitchen wares, and one beautiful Sunday, a phone for Ima. This is so you can always be connected to home, he said, handing it to her. Ima blinked back tears, holding the phone like a sacred item. Home, she whispered. She had never imagined that the path to marriage would lead through such lessons, sacrifices, and love. But now, with Memar as her mentor and Ekanem as her heart's keeper, she felt like the richest woman alive. That evening, she sent her first message to Ekanem with the new phone. My king, I have found a mother in your mother. What more can I ask for? He replied within minutes. And I have found peace in your arms. Keep learning, my queen. Our kingdom will be built on this love. As night fell and stars dotted the village sky, Mama watched Ima sleeping on the mat beside her. She whispered into the darkness, God, thank you. My son will not walk alone. You gave him a helper with the heart of gold. And the night wind, soft and full of blessings, carried her words far and wide. Share this story with someone who believes love still lives in the little things. Because on this channel, we don't just tell stories. We resurrect emotions, one chapter at a time. Subscribe now, so you don't just watch love stories. You feel them. Until next time, keep loving, keep believing, and never settle for less than forever.